242 is Will Middle Development. This is my 287th weekly update. I suppose I can't avoid mentioning it just a little bit, seeing as how it's literally everywhere now, and it would be, as a health-conscious channel, or at least a health-adjacent channel, it would seem inappropriate if I didn't at least acknowledge it and also talk about it just a little bit. And of course, I'm referring to the COVID-19 virus that seems to be getting just about everywhere now. Seems to be quite a problem. A unique solution. I am not going to delve into my personal opinions on it. What I will say is listen to the World Health Organization, also known as WHO, and the United States CDC, Center for Disease Control. Between these two sources, I think everybody can make an informed enough decision to keep themselves safe and keep their family members safe. I understand it's very difficult times for a lot of people with supplies just flying off the shelves everywhere, and let's just say not getting restocked in a timely manner in many cases. But I will leave a bit of a message and say that this too shall pass, which is my favorite quote ever. This too shall pass. We're all going to be okay. Actually, I can't promise that, but if you take the right measures, an overwhelming majority of all of us will be okay. And this will pass eventually, and we will all return to normalcy. Part of the reason I feel that I have no choice but to address it is many gym closures all over the country. I can only speak specifically about the United States, and even more specifically about Florida, as these are places where I have personal affiliation with and or personal experience with. And I can say that I understand it's a difficult time for a lot of people trying to be health conscious when ironically the gyms are being shut down. It's a challenging time for a lot of people. There's more than enough resources out there, free resources might I add, for at-home workouts, at-home training. If you happen to train strongman like me and are in the Florida area and happen to watch these videos, all I'm going to say is Atlas stones are a beautiful training tool. You can leave them outside. With a 115-pound Atlas stone, you can get a lot of work done. I'm talking squats, overhead pressing, stone to shoulder, deadlifts, well, more like Romanian deadlifts, but deadlifts nonetheless, rows. You could press stones while laying down. I mean, there's so many. It's a very versatile tool. And because of this situation, I'm actually going to start making pressing blocks again too, which are another great tool for everything. Deadlifts, floor presses, overhead pressing, you name it, you can get it done between those two tools. Carries, to get your conditioning in, all of it. And you can get even real fun and fancy. Because as far as I could tell, last time I went to my local hardware stores, they still had plenty of everything except for toilet paper. What a weird thing to run out of all over. Why toilet paper? Somebody answer that for me, please. Regardless, or rather, I digress. If you really want to keep training, you can find a way. There's no reason that you shouldn't be able to train. Push-ups, sit-ups, air squats, these things all still do stuff. If you're more advanced, probably trade out those squats for lunges. For body weight stuff, it'll be a little more effective, I think, in keeping your gains. We're all going to get through this eventually. It will pass. I can't say all. I apologize. I can't say all. This will pass. And we will return to normalcy at some point. This will probably be my last TWO video, my The Week Of video, releasing next week on Wednesday, for the foreseeable future, containing footage of me inside of a gym. I will more than likely be migrating to my own backyard, which I am privileged, blessed, lucky, and prepared enough to have, not to mention a ton of Atlas stones just laying around waiting for me to play with. So I will take this beautiful opportunity to finally be good at stones instead of just okay-ish. And hell, if it goes on long enough, I'll become great at it, I bet. Regardless, this is where we're at. This is a situation we all are finding ourselves in, and it's okay. This will pass. On to less depressing news and the shit that I actually want to talk about, which is my week this week. So, because my comp in April, Miami's Baddest, was postponed, I just found out about this earlier in the week, I believe, maybe even last week. I can't remember when exactly I found out about it, but obviously I have some more time to potentially get stronger. Or rather, I should say, I potentially have more time to get stronger. I'm going to take that opportunity, and I'm going to run with it. And given the challenges of the gyms shutting down, I will take this opportunity to, work on some other things and hopefully not lose much strength in my other places. I mean, nothing wrong with stone pressing, supersetted with push-ups, supersetted with incline push-ups, supersetted with lighter stone overhead pressing, Nothing wrong with that setup. That might be something I end up doing, Squat days, I guess we're squatting a stone, Been saying I needed to work on front squats anyway, so here we go. Guess we do it the strongman way, the tough way. But it'll make me a better competitor, a better athlete, and a more well-rounded competitor in the long run. So I welcome the challenge, and I say to everybody, embrace this challenge and do the best you can. Listen to the guidelines from the WHO and CDC and abide by them. But my normal training week this week went like this. I basically just fiddle-fucked around, if you want the honest truth, and did some relatively heavy shit. Because my plans have changed, and I'm going to spend this weekend writing out a general program that I'm going to try to comply to as best I can. Monday was log. Worked up to sets of 3 with 160. Did a few sets of 3 at 160, which is a PR of doing more than one set of 3 of 160. So that felt good to be able to do that, and it's on my 9-inch log, which is more challenging all over. So that's exciting. Tuesday, got to redo my heavy squat week from last week, and I'm so happy I did. I worked up to 340 for a set of 2 with great depth. I don't squat ass to grass, but in flats anyway, but when I squat low bar, I make a point to go below parallel, not to just parallel. My hip crease is going to be below my knee crease, and that is what happened on both of these reps at 340. That is a recent PR with no pain, which felt great in either my hip or my back. So it was great to survive that and be on my way to where I was. If everything had worked out the way it should have 2 years ago, I would be squatting mid-4s for reps right now, but that's okay. This is where we're at, and the challenges I'm facing have made me a better trainee, in my opinion. Wednesday off, spent it pouring some more stones. Some people are already ahead of the curve. And Thursday was another press day. That was a fun day. Worked up to a couple sets of 2 at 175. I really wanted to go heavier, but and if you watch my video on Wednesday, you'll see when I'm in my rack position, my left arm is back here instead of being up where it needs to be, and I'm not exactly sure what was forcing that to happen, whether it was just me not realizing, but every rep was just killing me. It was hurting my shoulder and my bicep tendons, and it really hurt to press. And you'll even see it, the footage I ended up getting was of me doing a set of 4 at 165. I wanted 5, and it was totally raw. I think I only had knee sleeves, but they were around my calves anyway. But I double overhanded it into a power clean. But man, it was really rough, and it really hurt. And when I got to that 4th rep, I was like, damn. Not to mention the set just before that. If you follow my Instagram, you'll see that set. I did a set of 5 at 155. And on my clean, I ended up ripping a bunch of hairs out of my chin, and it just like, oh, it hurts so much, and it just like completely, totally distracted me from everything. I should have been able to do a few more at 155, but it was just like, fuck, and it's just like, my chin was doing, like that. I was like, damn, you know. So that's something to think about for me, definitely when I compete, that I need to learn how to block that out a little bit better. I may purposefully rip some hairs out here on some stone some stone lifts just to get used to that pain, so it doesn't distract me like it did, because it was shocking how distracting it really was. And then tonight, unfortunately, the only footage I got was me doing 315 raw. I ended up pulling one with double overhand and then went down to get another with hook grip. But what had happened was I had done 2 sets at 365 for 4 or 5, I can't remember. I have it written down and I don't feel like looking at it. And then I went up to a set of 1 at 385, and I was planning on pulling a few singles at 385 just to stay in that higher range. And I ended up talking and bullshitting around. I screwed myself over, waited. It was probably 40 minutes between my 385 and my 315. And when I ended up pulling it, it felt like I was trash. But then when I watched footage, I was like, man, you had more in the tank. You should have done some more. So definitely going to be doing some deadlift accessory type stuff tomorrow. And maybe even some super lighter deadlifts, 225, 275 range. Just to really kind of be like, hey, you had more in the tank. You should have done a little more. But with the way things are right now, it's a lot of it's up in the air, and I'm spending this week, like I said, just kind of fiddling around. And next week I will get into more focused training. It'll be more specificity, but not towards, say, my comp, just because of the tools that I have at my disposal. So we'll see how it all goes, man. Wishing everybody out there the best of luck. Keep you and yours safe. And if you don't, then what's your excuse?